All right, well, welcome back to 2024. It feels a bit weird saying that, but we're on the couch with Woody, and this year the very first guest we've got is a duo combination. Wonderful people that have gone on the couch with me today, and it's Kathy and Michael from Silverline. Welcome, guys.
Hey.
Welcome.
Sorry if I'm fumbling on my words a bit, but I've got a numb mouth from the dentist this morning, so hopefully I'll get through this okay, but we'll see how we go. Well, welcome, guys. Thank you for coming down.
Thank
I know
you.
you've travelled from the northern beaches, which is fantastic. It's a lovely part of the world. So I might just start with Michael first, because I know somewhat of your background. I've known you for probably about a year and a half, something like that.
Mhm.
But we'll just start with you, Michael. Where did music grab a hold of you? Where did it begin? Your accent tells me you're from over the pond.
Yes.
So give us some backstory,
Well,
mate.
man, this goes back a long ways. Woody, I was just a child I think I was about 6 or 7 years old when I stayed up one night and watched the Ed Sullivan television show
Oh, wow.
on a Sunday night. And guess who was on?
Elvis Presley.
The Beatles.
The Beatles.
The Beatles were on, and I was completely and totally enamored. I didn't want to do anything else with my life except be a Beatle.
Wow.
But, you know, unfortunately, it was taken. So
was taken.
what do you do?
Yeah.
But then a few years, I started learning to play the drums. That was my first thing. And then when I was 14, my dad got me a guitar because I think he was tired of hearing me pound on things.
Yeah.
And so I learned to play the guitar. And by the time I was in high school, I was in a band and getting around making music. So there was that. And then I went to a year of college and did music there. And then all these years later, I met Kathy. And we started the Silverline.
Silverline.
Yeah.
So what part of the States were you based in? Where you were from?
I grew up in Seattle.
Seattle.
Yep, in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah.
Lived many years in a place called Muscle Shoals, Alabama.
Wow.
Yeah, big music town.
So you saw the birth, and not death, it's still alive in a big way, but the birth of grunge music. back in
Yeah,
the 90s,
yeah.
With the Seattle, all of those bands.
All that, yeah.
All those bands.
Yeah.
And when you were at college, were you working in the music industry, or you were doing day jobs? How was your working life in your sort of adult?
I went to school to learn to be a DJ on the radio.
Yep.
And I did that for 20 years.
You worked
in
on
America.
radio.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fantastic.
In stations all across America. That's how I ended up in Alabama, working at a radio station there, and just got to know the music industry, got to know, artists, because they would come to the radio station and, do interviews and things like that. And so one thing led to another, and I ended up here in Australia.
In Australia.
Met her.
Wow.
She pulled me out of all that and brought me over here.
So when was your first realisation when you were doing music and you were playing? Was that in your adult years, your early adult years, where you were going, hang on, I've got a bit of a craft for this and I can sort of make it go? Were you just playing drums in that band, or were you just playing guitar?
No, I didn't play drums in any band. I played guitar.
The guitar.
But by the time I moved, I had not done a lot of music during my radio stuff. But when I moved back here, because I have an American accent, I didn't do much radio at all.
Yeah,
and so she and I started singing together and doing stuff, mostly in church, which was fun. And then we connected with a girlfriend of hers and put together a trio and started doing, RSL clubs and things like that, all covers, know. And all during that time I was writing. I'd write my own music, but it never really got out of the bedroom much. And one day she says to me, you've got all these songs, you should record them. I went, oh, you think? And so we started. She found a guy named Simon Johnson.
I know Simon. Yep.
You know
Great
Simon?
musician.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's a dude.
He's a dude. He's a great guy. Yeah.
So we connected with Simon, and we just really did 2 songs. And one of them wasn't even one we'd written. It was Silver Threads and Golden Needles.
Yeah.
But we'd heard Kevin Bennett do a slowed down version in one of his shows. And we thought, man, we need to do that. She really wanted to record it, so we recorded Silver Threads and Golden Needles and a song called Let the Rain Fall.
Great. Those were your very first recordings in Australia.
Yeah.
With Simon Johnson producing.
That's it. And we really didn't think much beyond that. It's all been very organic in that way, and kind of random, actually.
Okay.
And then, we kind of looked at each other and said, geez, that was fun. Let's do that again.
Let's do it again.
So we did it again and again and again, and ended up with 10 songs, or 9. And, that was enough for an album. And then we actually started getting around doing some dates, and, as the Silverline. And we decided on the Silverline. That was really her thing. She wanted the word silver in our name. And there's meaning behind that. I'll let her tell you.
Yeah, okay.
What it was.
Well, let's move on to Kathy.
Hello.
And introduce you. So we know with Michael there's a relationship there and a forge between 2 loves of music and obviously songwriting and singing and performing.
Definitely.
You met Michael overseas or in Australia?
We actually met in person here, yes.
In person here.
Yes.
But before we get to then, let's go back to your earliest memory of music and when you got the bug, as I call it.
Gosh, mine's all related to church, actually. So a friend and I ended up in a church. It was a Pentecostal church, actually, in Hornsby. And in that church, sort of like it's you have those relationships or people that come into your life and your whole life changes because of that person. Some people they call like it's scaffolding. Some people come into your life and they'll fall away, but other people are kind of like your true north.
Yeah, great.
So my best friend, her name is Amanda Crocker, so youngest daughter of Barry Crocker.
Wow.
So the whole family were actually in that church in various sort of across that timeline, but Mandy and I just sort of like clicked and we're lifelong friends now. And so my musical journey sort of started there. I had been doing a little bit of singing with a friend in a choir, but it was a bit under duress because I don't have a musical family or any musical background. I just sort of fell into it. And then meeting Mandy and her family, it was very organic. We just sort of started singing together in church, that kind of thing. And then once that kind of ended, we ended up moving out together. And then that sort of started into a whole thing into the cabaret scene in Sydney. And back in the day then, cabaret gigs paid really well, 40 minutes, and you made, a fair bit of money, and they were all paying cash, and it was great.
Wow,
So we were doing a girl trio kind of thing, and we toured with the Australian Army Band a couple of times through Victoria, sang with I think it was the Melbourne Symphony Orchestra at an Olympic fundraiser. So
Unreal.
we were doing some really significant things and really fun, like, being flown to Melbourne and touring and doing that kind of stuff. And it was all the girl group kind of cover, so Andrew's sister stuff. And I've actually got a really old recording of it. It was funny, they recorded it. I'm that old, I can say this, like it was on a tape.
That's
and
okay.
the guy
Cassette.
on a cassette. And the guy was just at the sound desk and he recorded this whole thing that we did with the Tommy Dorsey Revival Band. And it was a group of guys that had come from America to do this fundraiser, and we were like, it was probably the most amazing band I've ever played with, and
you got
he's
that on
recorded,
tape.
he's captured it live, and we lost the tape and recently sort of found it and re-digitized it, and it's pretty amazing. We were like listening to the harmonies, and I'm a big kind of harmony person, and sort of learning in that journey, and meeting Michael, and then sort of on the way we sort of dovetailed into auditioning for The Voice with Mandy and her sister.
Yep.
And we got to season 7, we actually got to the televised round of it.
Wow.
Didn't turn a chair, but it was a great experience. Like, it's everything like that is an experience and you learn from it. So,
Yeah.
and in doing that, and meanwhile we were still doing music, and that's when I sort of got to that point. It was around 2018, and said to Michael, you really need to record your stuff. I think it's sort of like time, don't sit in the bedroom anymore. Let's find someone there. And we found Simon. So started
Fantastic.
our journey together there.
So it's not that long when you look at it like that on a timeline. I mean, like I know when I tell my story, it's from 2008. I've been flying the country rock flag, so to speak.
Yeah.
So it's a long time, and like it does go like that. But I mean, 2018, you guys are babies. You're in the scene, in the country.
I've always loved country music, and so Michael was in country radio in the States, and So we've always had a very deep love of country
yeah,
music, and it's sort of falling into that, but not had the opportunity to express it in a recording sort of sense. So
Yeah, great.
yeah.
Well, that's great. So when you say you met Michael, when you decided to have forge this duo, give me the backstory of where Silverline come from, the name. And you were talking about, Michael was saying that you wanted silver.
Sure, yeah.
In the
I had
name.
this thing because I really like Silverchair, so I was I really love the name Silverchair, and I like the whole silver thing. And I was sort of thinking, and I'm bouncing it off him, and he's like flagging and going, oh, whatever you think. It's we came up with some names. I think one of the ones we were talking about was Cheyenne, and I went, that sounds a bit naff, and I was like, no, I really want silver in it. So being a person who has a Christian faith, I was going through, there's a book in the Bible called Ecclesiastes, and it talks about life and death and everything in between. It's really practical. And it has this scripture, it talks about the silver lion or the silver plum, and the meaning taking away from that is that your life is really short. It's measured. So you from beginning to end, we're all going to, there's two sure things in life, death and taxes. We're all going to get there one day.
Yeah.
But it was the thing like to do it now. It doesn't matter where you are. The sort of the urgency is you can do it now. It doesn't matter how old you are, where you've come from, you can still do it. So it was like
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, I'll take something out of that, because I've read a song called Silver Lining Dream. I didn't even realise there's actually quite a strong connection there would be.
Yeah.
And that's what happens,
Silver lining, yeah.
Silver lining,
Silver
it comes out and comes through the Bible sometimes. You don't even know that it's happening.
Yeah, true. So it was just that I happened to see that and go, oh wow, that really resonated with me. So it was like, and anyone that asked me the story, it's good because I get to talk about those things and also things that have happened to us along the way with, life and things with family and things that impact you.
So let's talk about that. Yeah, while we're on family, like what's Michael? What your family back home? Is there brothers and sisters, mum and dad? Is there?
I have left.
Yep.
My sister.
Your sister.
Yeah.
Yep.
My mom and dad passed away just about the time I was thinking about moving here.
Okay.
Oddly enough, and my dad, I was living in Muscle Shoals and he was still back in Seattle.
Right. Yeah.
And I got a call from my sister saying Dad's passed away, and he was having heart trouble.
Right.
So he was a little bit wobbly anyway. So he had passed away, and he passed away on my birthday.
Wow.
I know. Thanks, Dad.
No,
Way to go, buddy.
We want you to remember it.
Yeah, I guess.
You will never forget your birthday.
So my
mom. And
mom.
a good sense of humour, by the way.
Yeah. So my mom's left, and she passed away 1 year later on the day.
Wow.
On my birthday. So at that point, I was having a lot of phone conversations with Kathy.
Just overseas, like?
Just long distance.
Long distance. But how did
I had a terrible
How did you
phone
meet? You met and then you went back to the States.
Yeah.
Okay, I get it now. Yeah.
So I said, I might as well come to see you.
Oh well.
And be here because.
What's left?
Yeah. Mom and Dad are gone. My sister, she's cool. She's living back up in Seattle, and I'm going back up there. So, on Christmas Day, I showed up on her doorstep.
Dressed as Santa Claus.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Which was pretty weird because it was like 40 degrees out. And I had left, I flew out of Nashville actually, and I left, and it was spitting snow, and, it was cold. But, so then I got here and I went, great.
An Aussie Christmas.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
So, and then 9 months, I came over on what's called a prospective partner visa. Okay?
Okay.
And basically what that means is that you have 9 months to get married or you have to go home.
Wow, okay.
So in typical me fashion, I waited. I didn't say anything about that for 3 months.
So you had 6 months.
So we had 6 months, and I said to her, "Oh, by the way, I have to be gone in 6 months, or we have to get married." And she went, "What?" So
I like how they make it the same length of the birth of a child, like 9 months for a baby, 9 months for a wedding.
Yeah,
That's pretty
so
much.
much to her credit, we got it together and had a beautiful wedding. And we did our honeymoon in Tasmania.
Beautiful part of the world.
Yeah. So we had a really romantic, lovely time down there.
Fantastic.
It was in June, so it was cold down there.
Freezing.
Yeah. So.
At each other, to keep each other warm.
Yeah, that's it. We did.
Get your boots on.
In a world driven by visuals, every frame tells a story. Every moment captures emotion. At Speedy Tech Media, we breathe life into your vision. Our dedicated team of experts craft unforgettable experiences. We don't just shoot videos, we create memories that last a lifetime. Join us in making your dreams a reality. Elevate your brand with Speedy Tech Media. Contact us today. Let's tell your story together.